Guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, we'll be learning more about the exception handling. So, exception handling is basically a process of responding to unwanted or unexpected events when an automation software runs. So, exception handling deals with these events to avoid the program or system crashing. So, exception handling basically what it does is it will handle the unexpected scenario. So till now we have designed our happy path, but let's say tomorrow that our input file does not exist. Then what will happen in that case? Bot will fail, bot will stop. And in these kind of scenario, let's say we want to inform the user, but since our bot is stopped and we have not done any exception handling, the bot will simply do not send any alert to the user. So to handle these kind of situations, we do exception handling. So in Power Automate, basically we have two types of exception handling. One is to handle the exceptions on each stage. So if you go on in each stage, there is on error parameters. In here we have the fixed exception handling, we have a retry policy of fix. So what will do in this launch excel parameter is, if this fails, it will retry it after an interval of 2 seconds, and after that it will throw error. Okay, let's say if you do not want to throw error, you can use this continue flow run and go to next action. There are different options available under this error handling mode, which we will be discussing in details in this video itself. So for now, let's say that I want to if throw the error. Okay, let me delete this and run it. Okay, so currently it has successfully opened the file. Okay, now let us move this file name and let's see what we'll do now. See, it is currently retrying. So it fails. Now it will retry once and throw the exception. So it is currently retry and throw the exception that it has failed to launch the Excel. Right. So this is how we do exception handling for each stages. Right. So if you see, there is a symbol of exception handling also here, this blue one. This is a symbol of exception handling. It will tell us on which stages the exception is handled. So this on error is available on each of the stage in Power Automate, and we can make use of it. And let's say that if your bot fails, it should go to the next action. So what it will do is it will fail here, and it will retry it, and then if it again fails, then it will come to this. So let's see what it will do now. Okay. See, it comes on this next. Anyway, this will fail because there is no Excel open as such. So this is how the exception handling is done on each stage. For now, let us keep it none. Okay, and let's see how the exception is handled or on block level. This is right. So on error, let's use throw error. So this is the default. Now, if you see, the blue sign is not appearing. Now let's use block. So block basically we can set a number of actions inside a block, right? So read input exception, read input exception block, and let's copy these actions and paste them here. Okay, so now these comes inside this block. So whenever any stage under this block throws the exception, it will be caught by this block and this block will be executed. Now inside this block we have some different set of actions. Let's say what you want to do. If the exception is being cached by this block, you want to go to end of the block, it will come here directly to the end. It will not execute any action. You want to perform the next action, let's say it fails on launch excel, then you want to go to next action, it will go to this fourth step repeat action. It will repeat the action once. Go to label. Basically if you want to go to any subflow something, so this is basically a go to statement. We'll be learning about this in later part of this video. Go to beginning of the block. Let's see that the exception has been caught. Then it will again go to beginning of the block and it will start executing from this set variable. Okay, so for now let's make a use of go to next action and let's see how it runs. Let's apply a breakpoint here and run. It is currently on launch excel. See, this stage throws the exception at backs go to the on block error. Now, in on block error, what we have defined is to go to next stage where the exception occur. It should go to next step of that stage. So it comes directly till here. Now, if I run it again, it will throw the exception. Now, you guys will let me know in the comment section below why the error occurred on this read from Excel worksheet, why it was not caught by this on block error. Okay, now we'll be going to the next step. So the exception occurred at launch excel. Okay, now we want to know what is the excel, what is the exception, and we want to send it to the end user. Okay, now to capture the exception in our flow, we have a flow control. Let's create a new subflow. Let's call it capture exception details. Okay, and let's make a use of it. Get last error, basically it captures the last error which occurred during our flow, right? And let's make use of, so let's rename it to exception details. So the variable last error has some properties. Let us look at some properties. So if you see, this is not a text variable, this is error kind of variable. So and I recommend it to not to rename it once it is created. So let's say you want to know on which subflow it failed, so we can write okay failed at subflow. Okay, and we want to know failed at stage, right? So for this also we have property of last error. We have the action index. Let's say we want to capture the exception details. So we can say that okay, last error is the message. Okay, let's save it. Now in our error block, what we can call this subflow. So whenever any kind of exception occurs during in these blocks, then we will call this capture exception detail. Okay, see, so what bot will do here is it fails, then it will see the rules, run subflow. it will first run this subflow and then it will come here. It will see, okay, there is a continue flow run, then it will go to next action. So for now, let's use throw error and save, and let's run it. So it is currently on launch Excel and it comes back to on block error. Now since we have configured that it should capture the exception, it has captured the last error. If you see, there is failed to open Excel document, and we have captured the exception and then it has thrown this error and the bot has stopped. So if I see the exception detail, so exception occurred at this subflow at stage 3, and these are the details. Okay. Now let's say that we want to retry these actions. How do we retry them? So there is, so in these we have a retry policy, we can retry it, but on block error we have to generate a logic. Generate a logic, how can we retry the whole subflow? So here we have created two variables. One is exception counter and second is retry. So let's see how can we make use of it. Let's create a new subflow and let's move it up. This exception counter. What this will do is it will whenever there is an exception, it will increase the value by 1. Okay, and how many times it should do is, let's maybe if, now let's say the is greater than the retry limit. Okay, if counter is greater than retry limit, let us do it so that we can see it faster. It should stop, the flow should stop, or you can display a message, or you can send an email that the flow has failed, or you can also display a message, that flow stopped. You can display where desktop, basically we usually send the email. Let's save it and run it. Okay, so it has checked this condition. Currently the exception counter is 0. Now the bot has thrown exception on this launch Excel, so it goes back to here. Now if I run next, it will capture the details. We have some exception. Let's use continue flow run and let's use go to beginning of the block so that it will retry. So let's run it now. Okay, so on it is currently on launch excel, and the section is supposed to fail. No, it fails. It has been captured by this block, and it captures the exception and increases the exception counter to 1. Now it will check the limit. Okay, it is still not matched. Run it again. Again it comes here, captures the exception details, increases the exception counter, check the limit, again capture the exception details, check the limit. Okay, this time limit has reached, and we have a, so the this pop-up is closed automatically and then has stopped the flow. So this is how we handle the exception. Instead, we do not use this stop flow completed everywhere. We can use it with error message, and we can give the error message like exception details or the last error, or we usually send an email to the user that okay, the file is not present, please look into the file, and trigger the bot again. So this is how we handle the exceptions in Power Automate in simple ways. Now in our next video we'll be learning how can we handle the exception in more of an advanced way. How do we handle the exception in our real projects? So we'll be learning how can we handle the exception in this create orders. Let's say if we fail to launch the Chrome, then the bot should update the output file instead of sending the email, so that at the last when user opens the file, it sees that okay, these records have failed and these records have passed. So in this way we'll be looking into exception handling and more advanced exception handling in the next video. Till then, thank you, thanks for watching, bye bye.